The amount of young talent currently in the league is arguably at an all-time high. Wemby, Ant, Paolo, Chet, JDub, Scottie, and LaMelo, just to name a few, are all-stars, and we have seen younger teams make real noise, most recently the Thunder and Magic. But who are the best young cores in the league among players 23 and under? At 30th is the Clippers with Kai Jones, Cam Christie, and Trenton Flowers. Christie and Flowers haven't touched the floor yet, though both are just 19, and Flowers has been great in the G League, averaging 15 on 52% in the 5 games so far. Jones is the only player under 24 to play for the Clips. At the end of the rotation with just 88 minutes so far, he is a threat near the rim as a flashy finisher with defensive flashes, but will most likely never be more than a backup big. The Boston Celtics are 29th, with Jordan Walsh highlighting the group as the only guy close to being in the rotation, 11th in minutes among Celtics. He has had a rough year so far, shooting just 28.6% and has more fouls than shots made, but he is just 20, getting actual minutes on the defending champion Celtics team, which is very encouraging. JD Davison is also carrying the main Celtics with 25 points and 10 assists a game, making a solid case to get more garbage time minutes with Boston later this season. The Bucks are 28th, and their disappointing start has led them to give the different younger guys increased opportunity, like Andre Jackson Jr. being thrusted into the starting lineup, as the Bucks are 5-3 in games with Ajax starting. As a fun finisher with an improving jumper, shooting 40% from deep this season, Ryan Rollins may have also found his home with 46 minutes in his last 3 games and has been sniping from deep. Tyler Smith, A.G. Johnson, and Chris Livingston are all averaging double figures for the Wisconsin Herd, with Livingston averaging 22 and 13 in 3 games. The Sacramento Kings are 27th, and this is heavily on injured lottery pick Devin Carter. The former Providence guard underwent shoulder surgery in the summer and is expected to return in a couple months, but he averaged nearly 20 with 9 blocks at 6'2" in college and was an efficient high-volume shooter in his junior year, with his free throw percentage going up to prove that shooting leap is real. Carter was Big East Player of the Year and drafted 13th overall and should carry this younger core. Colby Jones has played just 38 NBA minutes this year but has scored 52 points in 10 games in the G League on 55-43 splits. The New York Knicks are 26th, and Tibbs' top-heavy defensive strategy is overshadowing this core. Tyler Kolek and Ariel Hukporti have cracked the end of the rotation, both rookies filling their role. Kolek in playmaking as a first-rounder out of Marquette, and Hukporti as a 7-footer that has done so good in his limited minutes that his contract was upgraded from a 2-way to normal. 19-year-old Pacome Dadiet is shooting 46% from deep on 11 total attempts, and as the season goes on, don't be surprised if they continue to get more minutes, specifically Kolek and Hukporti, as they are capable to fill in for any missing players. The Phoenix Suns land at 25, and this is mainly off Ryan Dunn. The UVA forward has filled into the starting lineup with a KD injury, and though his offense may not be what we thought it was after the first week, he's still someone that can knock down a 3 and is one of the best rookie defenders, even if the counting stats don't show it. Second rounder Iso Iguodala has also cracked the rotation and is making 66% of his shots as the 6th leading rebounder on the team. Jalen Bridges and Ty Washington Jr. are both averaging around 25 in the G League. The New Orleans Pelicans sit at 24th with 3 rotational guys. Jordan Hawkins got injured earlier in the season, but he was averaging 15 points so far, though very inefficiently. Hawkins is a shot chucker, one of a dying breed, but is a complete bucket. Brandon Boston Jr. has went from a backup with the Clippers to a 12.5 point per game guy that can fill up the stat sheet. And Yves Missy has started 11 games at center and is averaging 7 and 7. While all the stats may not be completely indicative of these players' skills, they have been thrust into the spotlight with all the Pelicans' injury, and they may be cementing themselves spots on this New Orleans team for the future. The Los Angeles Lakers rank 23rd and are mostly here because of Dalton Connect. He's a sharpshooter, already making the 3rd most threes on the Lakers. He's averaging 11.5 points, and that number should go up as he is getting better by the game, putting himself into the Rookie of the Year conversation. Max Christie has also put himself into the Lakers rotation with even more minutes than last year. Quincy Oliveri, Maxwell Lewis, and Armel Traore are the 3 leading scorers for the South Bay Lakers, with a combined 59.8 points per game among the 3. And Bronny James has a long-term contract with the Lakers as a solid defensive player. The Brooklyn Nets rank 22nd, with Cam Thomas leading the way. With Mikal Bridges gone, Cam is now the first option and is averaging 25 points per game, and surprisingly isn't shooting that bad, with a 59.8% true shooting. Thomas will never be the first option on a title team, but he is clearly one of the better scorers in the league and someone that can drop 30 on any given night. And other guys, Zaire Williams, Day'Ron Sharpe, Noah Clowney, and Keon Johnson are all rotational players for a Nets team that hasn't been that bad. The Chicago Bulls fall just short of the top 20, with 5 rotational players. Matas Buzelis is a rookie from the G League that has scored 23 in his last 2 games with an apparent breakout. Patrick Williams is a two-way guy that is somehow going into his 5th season as a consistent 40% three-point shooter as a smaller 4. Josh Giddey is averaging 12, 7, and 6 in his first season as a Bull, but even better is shooting a career-high 36% from deep on the most attempts he's ever had. Julian Phillips and Dalen Terry are both at the end of the rotation with around 13.5 minutes a game, while DJ Stewart, EJ Liddell, and Adama Sanogo are averaging a combined 54.3 points in the G League. The Denver Nuggets land at 20th, and they have multiple rotational guys. Christian Braun has been a huge part of the Nuggets managing to come back from a slow start and stay alive despite Jokic missing a stretch. Braun is averaging 16 points on 57% from the field and an insane 47% from deep, quietly making a case for most improved player consideration. Peyton Watson and Julius Strawther are both also shooting solidly from 3 at around 37 to 39%, with P. Watt being a key defensive player that has started 9 games and Strawther as a bucket getter off the bench. Rookie Deron Holmes got injured in the summer, but was supposed to be the backup center to Jokic, but 6'10 PJ Hall is averaging 20 on 45% from 3 in the G League. The Miami Heat land at 19th, and they probably could be higher, but Jaime Jaquez Jr. has had a rough start. Despite shooting better from 3 than last year, Jaquez is only making 41% of his field goals and averaging just 8.7 points, while Nikola Jovic has been promoted to the starting lineup, but shooting worse than 45% from the field and averaging 7.7 points. Rookie Pelle Larsson has been surprisingly good, making the rotation with 37 points in his last game, but Khalil Wheeler has played just 48 minutes. In the G League, Keshawn Johnson and Josh Christopher are averaging well over 20, but the expectations of guys like Jaquez and Ware have not been met to start the season, which is disappointing for a group with such high potential. The Dallas Mavericks are ranked 18th. Derek Lively is just 20 years old and already one of the best rim protectors in the league with 1.6 blocks a game so far. Lively is a dominant rim threat next to Luka and is more needed without the vertical spacing of Derrick Jones Jr. now. He has also showed passing flashes as a smart passer out of the role, though hopes of him spacing the floor in his second year haven't been fulfilled. Jaden Hardy is a solid bucket getter at the end of the bench. Oliver Maxence Prosper has started to get garbage time minutes as a 2023 first rounder, but Jazzy Gortman has showed very efficiently in the G League with terrible shooting. The Philadelphia 76ers rank 17th, and Jared McCain may already be a star. The 16th pick is averaging nearly 16 points, with 24 a game in his last 9 games, getting way more minutes at 34 a game as he has been carrying the Sixers. McCain is an NBA-ready guy that is an elite shooter, already at a 40% clip, with great off-ball movement while still having the ability to create for himself. He's also a very good defender already and could be the future of Philly. For the other players, KJ Barton and Ricky Council are getting real NBA minutes, while Adam Bona and Justin Edwards are getting around 15 a game in the G. The Golden State Warriors finished 16th with 3 real rotational players. Kuminga, Moody, and Pods have all started multiple games this year for a starting lineup that has been very inconsistent. Kuminga is averaging 13, though having the most inefficient year of his career so far. Moody has been shooting 41% from 3, but Pods has started out rough. Beekman and Santos have been 2 of the top Warriors scorers in Santa Cruz, but the start of the year has been disappointing. For such a good rookie year, Podziemski has taken a noticeable step back. Kuminga has also regressed hugely after a great junior season. While this group has tons of potential, the start has brought up some questions for the future core of Golden State. The Indiana Pacers ranked 15th. Benedict Mathurin is having the best year of his career so far, with a career high 18 points and career high 7 rebounds on 49, 40, 85 splits, all by far the most efficient rate he's ever shot, which is a 62.7% true shooting, with the only 5 other players with 18, 6.8, and 62.7 true shooting being Jokic, AD, Cat, Sabonis, and Vucevic, all very offensively skilled bigs. Ben Shepherd has also been thrust into a starting spot in the last 5 games, shooting over 40% from 3 this year, and 2023 8th overall pick Jarris Walker is actually getting rotational minutes. Unfortunately, both James Wiseman and Isaiah Jackson suffered season-ending injuries after encouraging starts, but rookie Johnny Furphy has started to get more minutes. The Utah Jazz are at 14th with a collection of younger guys. Keontae George is one of the highest scorers on the team with 15 points a game, though extremely inefficiently. Walker Kessler has just returned from an injury, but is the starting center and one of the best shot blockers across the entire league. Rookie Kyle Filipowski has filled into that starting spot while injured and showed some flashes with a willingness to shoot despite the shots not falling. Flip has potential. Bryce Sensabaugh is also shooting at a 41% rate from 3, and Johnny Juzang is a rotational guy, but lottery pick Cody Williams has unfortunately started to get mentioned. He has got 7 starts, but the start to his career has been absolutely horrid. He's shooting very inefficiently, but there is still hope. He's just like 16 games into his career. The Cleveland Cavaliers are 13th, with Evan Mobley being a huge part. Mobley's offense is great. He's averaging a career high 17.6 points and has built enough of a three-pointer for it to be a respectable threat, shooting 36.6% over the last 2 seasons on 90 total attempts in 67 games, but his offense isn't what to talk about. Mobley has been a top 10 defender at worst since his 2nd season, a versatile, lengthy guy that can get to the rim in an instant with a 7'4" wingspan. Isaac Okoro is shooting 47.4% from 3 and has been a starting level wing for Cleveland for the last half decade, somehow still qualifying for the list. Rookie Jalen Thompson might not get many minutes this year, but he showed that he can step up when needed with 16, 11, and 7 in a win against the Pelicans. The Memphis Grizzlies land at 12th with a solid group of guys, some having great potential. After a lot of discourse around Zach Edey and how he would pan out in the league, he has completely worked out. Though injured right now, Edey is averaging 11 and 7 in just 20 minutes for a playoff-bound Memphis squad. In a center rotation of Jaren Jackson Jr., Jay Huff, and Zach Edey, there were plenty of excuses for Edey to not work out immediately, but he has become a very good rookie and is mobile and good enough to succeed. Additionally, Jalen Wells has put himself into the rookie year conversations, averaging 12 a game on nearly 40% from 3 as a starter from almost day 1 despite being a second rounder. Though G.G. Jackson has been injured this year, he's a very tough scorer at just 19 years old, carrying an injured Grizzlies team at times last year, and is the wing of the future for Memphis. Santi Aldama and Jake LaRavia have also been impact guys for Memphis for a couple years and are solid young players. Yuki Kawamura is also the GOAT. The Portland Trailblazers are just outside of the top 10 with plenty of potential young stars. Scoot Henderson is still very raw, showing plenty of signs of the potential that we hoped heading into the 2023 season, but is shooting just 40% from the field and 28% from 3. On the bright side, Shadon Sharpe has one of the highest ceilings by any player at his level and is a flashy finisher at the rim. Donovan Clingan did just get injured, but he has been a beast on the boards and is dominant everywhere inside just as a rookie. Denny Avdia has also had a rough start to the season after a breakout year in Washington, but the change of scenery could be impacting that. Ryan Rupert and Jabari Walker are also rotational guys for the Blazers. Denny's former team, the Washington Wizards, land at 10th, and this is because of their potential. Bilal Coulibaly has been called Baby Giannis, as he is still growing as a ball-handling wing that is an elite finisher and has an improving deep-range shot, while being a versatile defender. Alex Sarr is also an elite defender already as a rookie, racking up blocks and already showing his rim deterrence, and though his shot selection is very rough, he's a good connective passer and has showed the potential to hit the 3 as a 7-footer. Bub Carrington has also been the best rookie for Washington so far as a triple-double threat, and Keyshawn George has a hot hand and is good defensively. The Atlanta Hawks ranked 9th. Jalen Johnson could be an all-star candidate in a few years, as JJ is averaging 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists. This was a player at the end of the rotation just 2 seasons ago, now by far the second best player on Atlanta, as he's also a very good defender and great at getting out in transition. And another defender is Dyson Daniels, this year's Hawks most improved player candidate. He's racking up steals and would easily be an all-defensive player if the season ended today. Dyson is also averaging 14 points a game as a starter. 19-year-old Zachary Reese-Sachet has also been put into the starting lineup, and though he is very efficient, he has showed plenty of flashes and that shot making can translate on a long-term path. Onyeka Okongwu has been someone that can slide into the starting lineup for Atlanta for the last few years, and David Roddy is also a new backup big. The Toronto Raptors are 8th, and Scottie Barnes carries this group. Scottie was an all-star last season, nearly averaging 20 a game, and though he has been out for a majority of this year, Scottie has showed what he can be. Barnes is an elite second option and is versatile on both sides of the ball as a very good defender and playmaker. Grady Dick has also broken out in his second season. He's averaging 18 a game, and though it is inefficient, the shooting is something we saw at an elite level in college, and his shot creation from everywhere on the court is what is so encouraging because we know what he can grow into. All-rookie contender Jonathan Mogbo, Jamal Sheed, and Jamison Battle are all rotational players for Raptors team, perfecting the tank. The Minnesota Timberwolves are 7th, and this is nearly all off one player, that of course being Anthony Edwards. Ant is one of the best two-way guys in the league, averaging a career-high 27.9 points a game, and is an elite finisher, being able to score through force or finesse, and has been on a historic shooting heater this year, making a league-leading 78 threes in just 16 games at a 43.8% rate. If he can continue to make this many threes at even a similar rate, Ant could skyrocket up the three-point leaderboards and is one of the best players in the league. Leonard Miller has also been dominating the G League for years and is even better this season with 24 points a game, and Rob Dillingham has loads of potential, though isn't getting many minutes as a rookie, but he is shooting 57% from deep in his limited attempts. The Charlotte Hornets are 6th. I made these rankings about 5 days before the release of the video. Had they been ranked today, they might be higher. That is how good LaMelo Ball has been. In his last 3 games, he has scored 35, 50, and 44. He's averaging 31, 7, and 5. LaMelo is legit unstoppable, running around and throwing up shots that somehow fall. This is what we saw from Chino Hills, and those flashes we saw the last couple years that were overshadowed by injuries are finally unleashed. But this Hornets core is deep, as Brandon Miller started and is still averaging nearly 20. He's an elite scorer, shooting 37% from deep and putting up 29.8 points and 7.8 boards in the last 4 games. Among a stacked 2023 draft class, Miller looks like the second best player, and it isn't close right now. Trey Mann has also been tough off the bench, averaging 14 a game as a fun scorer, while Mark Williams is potentially the center of the future, but could be fighting with Musa Diabate, an elite rebounder who will put up some of the craziest stat lines you will ever see, averaging nearly double the boards than points. The only negative thing about this core is Tidjane Salon and how raw he is, but the rookie is just 19. Cade Cunningham leads the 5th-ranked Pistons core, and I won't talk much about Cade and the Pistons as much as Charlotte, as I recently made a video about Cade, but he is a triple-double threat at all times, doing everything offensively and is leading Detroit to postseason contention, just 1 year after a historic 28-game losing streak. Ivy, Duran, Asor, and Holland all have bright futures on a Pistons squad that could make noise in the East over the next few years. The San Antonio Spurs land at 4th, and it isn't too early to say Victor Wembanyama is going to be an all-time great and is already top 20 in the league. Wemby is averaging nearly identical stats as last year, with San Antonio being much better and him reportedly having a terrible start to the season. He's averaging an even better defensive year and slightly higher in points per game, finally catching his shooting stroke with a 50-pointer earlier this season. But he isn't the only guy on this young core, as Jeremy Sohan has had a great start to the season. After a heavily criticized sophomore year, Sohan is averaging 55.4% on all twos and averaging 15.4 points, with his usual good defense before falling to injury. Rookie Stephon Castle's also got a starting spot, and though he is shooting very inefficiently, he's a rookie and is seemingly improving every game. Julian Champagne is also a starter for San Antonio, while Blake Wesley and Malachi Branham get actual rotational minutes. The Houston Rockets land at 3 with a case to be number 1, as they have the deepest young core in the entire league. 5 of their top 8 players in minutes are 23 or younger, 4 of them being 22 or younger, and 3 starters fitting that criteria. Alperen Sengun is currently the best of the bunch and best on the playoff contending Rockets. Sengun would undoubtedly be an all-star consideration had he been in the East, and should still have a case in the West as a constant triple-double threat as a big, and though his three-point shooting hasn't been good this year, he's respectable from behind the arc as a center. But his most criticized part of his game, defense, has been heavily improved this year. But the Rockets are full of young great defenders that disrupt ball handlers, like Tari Eason and Amen Thompson, the latter with star potential. Amen's offense has improved this year, getting up to 11.5 points a game, with 32% three-point shooting, an encouraging jump for the future. Jalen Green has started the year off bad, but we've seen the star potential at the end of last season, and we know that he can get a bucket. Rookie Reed Shepherd is the same way, but he's shooting 38% from 3 on limited attempts. While Jabari Smith's junior development compared to guys from his draft class like Paolo and Chet has been disappointing, and maybe what's keeping the Rockets down at 3 compared to top 2, he's a 3-and-D role player that can space the floor at 6'10 perfectly. But I would be lying if I said that we didn't expect more from him when being drafted. Cam Whitmore is another disappointing piece and among an elite core, recently being sent down to the G League, but that isn't to take away from what is one of the best young cores that will compete in the West for years. But the Oklahoma City Thunder have the best young core in the league. Nearly every player on this list can be a very impactful rotational player on a normal team. Unfortunately for them, OKC is arguably the best team in the league, and so talented that minutes are sometimes hard to find. Chet Holmgren did go down early, but before his injury was averaging 16 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2.5 blocks on 50-38-78 splits. He is a center in his second year. The ability to move like he does at 7'1" is underappreciated, likely because of Wemby at 7'4", but it is still absurd to see someone that big moving like that. He blocks everything at the rim and spaces the floor for guys like Chet and JDub to get buckets. And talking about Jalen Williams, he may be one of the best bucket getters in the league currently. His ability to create space isn't great, but he will still put the ball in the hoop from anywhere, shooting 52.3% from the field and 39.3% from 3 while being an elite defender. He's making a great case to be an all-star for a Thunder squad competing for the first seed. But Cason Wallace is another great defender with shooting potential, but he can lock up your favorite player in just his second season. The other Jalen Williams has proven to be a very good backup big, though he has been injured to start the year, a trend among Thunder centers. AJ Mitchell, Ousmane Dieng, and Dylan Jones have also all got rotational minutes for OKC at times, and rookie Nikola Topic will miss the year, but he's an encouraging on-ball playmaker that was drafted in the lottery.